Well, my last video in A History of Words and Pictures was about a 2017 comic book. Now let's jump back in time to an 1872 pocketbook. This one was by Punch, the British satirical magazine, which basically was an institution. They had a yearly almanac, a weekly magazine, which was their mainstay, and these pocketbooks. So what was a pocketbook? Well, it's kind of the Victorian equivalent of a smartphone, as we'll see. You know, minus the phone part. So this guy's seen better days, which is why I was able to get it cheap. But it's from 1872. It's great to handle and leaf through. So you'd have this little guy with you. Starts off with some art, right? And there's art throughout it, which is why it's in the Words and Pictures video series. Prominent illustrators of the day would be hired to make these, so you'd be getting art from some big names, and the book overall, so you got this nice little fold out to start it, just for, amusement's sake. And here's the title page that you saw before, and as it mentions, basically, this is as much useful information as they could pack into a small carry volume. So it's got directories, names of people in high positions, locations of offices, what hours they're open, museums. So just like today, you would take out your smartphone and say, I wonder if the Museum of Natural History is open on Tuesdays. Let's find out before we waste the trip. In these days, you could take out your little pocketbook and look it up. It was part almanac as well, as you might have seen on that page there that I was on. So, what time is the sun supposed to come up? Next Monday. So, it was your weather app too. It was quite a bit of information that they managed to pack in here, so they did a great job with that. But as you can see, of course, there's plenty of art as well to keep it interesting. They, of course, couldn't constantly refresh their pages like the ones that we see online, but they went to the trouble to get all of these made and arranged so that you could, keep things lively as you look through. The visuals were the same style as found in Punch magazine, so it's this satirical, kind of amusing cartoons. But there's more to it than that, because there's working spaces in here as well. There's a calendar, it's kind of a memo book, so you can write yourself a note for, the Monday 2 weeks from now to remember to do something on that certain day. So it's your calendar pocketbook as well. And you can see we've got notes, or markings, I should say, from the actual owner of this particular edition, which is pretty neat. And as they used to say in the old commercials, but wait, there's more, because the entertainment wasn't just the visual aspect. You had stories and poems. So if you're in a long line at the bank and you're bored, just like today, you'd pull out your phone and try to find something amusing to read. Same thing here. I might or might not be the first person to make this observation, but it's kind of like, imagine if the internet had to be planned and then frozen for a year, right? And then it just doesn't change, but you can go ahead and look it up throughout the year, different parts of it. That's basically what a pocketbook was, if you combine it with your to-do list and reminder app, that kind of thing. So there you see a poem, illustration, and it's heavy on the illustration. It's not like a comic book or anything, but they did go to trouble to include really a lot of them, and I love that style. And there's one about taxes, and you can see the information on the left, the illustration on the right, and who doesn't love satire about taxes? We'll stop and check on some of these images later on. I love this one, in still shots. And there you go, useful information, lighthearted entertainment, right, illustrations, just about everything they could cram in here. And you can see that the styles change too, right? So check out that one there, for instance. Love that one. Very different from the one it showed just a second ago. Now let's look at the opening fold-out in a little more detail. It's pretty awesome. So you've got this varied scene, and of course the difference here is it's colored, right? I love these guys, Englishmen, and they're well-dressed, but they also have wings and they're flying around. Here's some actual handwritten notes, I should say. Love that. Here's the image I was talking about before, just to focus on it for a sec. This is the kind of thing that makes it, at least in part, a picture book. Here's some of what I was talking about before. Got information about exhibitions, things to go do, and what days are open, times, things like that. Of course, it wouldn't be England without Shakespeare, so you get a humorous depiction of him, and of course the information on the left, as you can imagine, is about the actual theater. Here's an extreme close-up. Nice detail, because this is like a 10 times magnification. And you've got some Irishmen with their shillelaghs ready to go at it, part of a bigger brawl scene. I like seeing the artists work that up close, and speaking of the art, probably my favorite thing is just the cover here. I think the emblem they came up with is really great. Every year, from what I could tell, had a different one. and the red and gold is carried over here on the edges of the pages. Nice gilding, if that's the right word, but basically you want to be able to impress your friends even when your pocketbook is closed. Show them the quality of pocketbook you're able to afford. Here's some more super up-close detail, just to get an idea of the actual lines put down. The book itself is small, as you saw, and then this is a really small drawing, so you can imagine it's detailed work. That's why it's kind of interesting to see it this close up. And you get a lot of society people running around. That's part of what we're looking at here. And the only detailed handwritten note in the entire book, so I don't know if the owner of this used it that often, maybe just to look stuff up more than for reminders and bank moves. But back in 1872, this transaction took place. The whole thing is a cool little slice of life from the Victorian era. Thanks.